All right. Hey guys, today we're going to look at crude oil, gold, and silver. Let's start by looking at the gold chart through the lens of Elliott wave. All right, here we go. All right, so on the longer time frame chart, the daily chart of gold, we've had these boxes on here for quite a long time. Price came up in there, and the $1 million question was, where is it going to top and reverse? And we are looking for a wave 4. So you must admit, that sure does look like a top. This is exactly the kind of action you'd like to see at a top. So thank you, Elliott Wave, for giving us the idea of where to be looking for a top. Now, is this method perfect? Of course not. Is any method perfect? Of course not. Um, there is a very nice predictive quality to Elliott Wave, but the reason I like it is for its parameters. So, did I know exactly where this is going to top out? Of course I didn't. No, nobody does. But, this is a general idea, and it sure does look like gold has topped in that region. So, what we're looking for over a long period of time, as I've mentioned before, if gold does top in this area, it could be many months before we see another high. And the way that might look, usually a wave 4 correction at a minimum is 3 waves. And if it's more complex, which it can unfold in a more complex manner, but it'll be composed primarily of threes. So we take it one step at a time and we perform the analysis based on what we see and what the measurements are. So at this exact moment, the measurement, this blue box, is based on this high for that wave 3, and the second click is the bottom of wave 2. So in white. So you see let me shrink this a little bit. So you see the wave 2 bottom and this wave 3 top. The way we measure for a wave 4 is from the bottom of wave 2 to the top of wave 3. And the only immutable rule is you do not want to see price of a wave 4 get into the price territory of wave 1. Now, it has to be the same degree. So the white wave 1 top is actually, I guess that's where I had it before. I just moved it. So just call it 2200 basically. So not expecting price to come down below 2200. I know that you might think I'm crazy because that's $600. Well, yeah. And could that happen? Well, of course that could happen, but I think what is more likely to happen is we see price come down, and another feature of wave 4 is it often targets the wave 4 of the previous degree wave 4. So in this case, the previous wave 4 is right in this area, right where this 50% fib is. Now, another thing I've observed is not unusual at all is for price to move down in threes and initially target the 382 fib. So if this can come down, probably it already looks like 3 down. So actually, let's go see what this is. So now I just jump down to the 4-hour chart. So yeah, this is 3 down, and it's interesting. It kind of slowed down and now appears to be stopping going down right around the 1618. It's not unusual for wave 3 to extend to the next fib. If that is the case, I will adjust these levels of this blue box. So as far as parameters go, if you are trying to play the bounce, it depends how tightly you want to play your stop. But one idea would be, if this is going to bounce up into this zone, because if this is the bottom of wave 3, then you're going to get a wave 4 bounce. And the $1 million question is wave 3 done yet or not in gold? So first thing I need to do, bottom of wave 2. So actually, sorry, this wave 4 right here, this was my parameters. This blue box was the parameters in case this was a wave 4 from above, and we were going to get one more shove up into this ratio box. Now, look, this is a perfect place to introduce this idea and address criticisms of Elliott wave, which is, oh, it's wrong. Look, you were totally wrong. Ha ha. But that's not the way I use Elliott wave. I use Elliott wave for its parameters. So as soon as price comes down and breaks this blue box, it's not a wave 4. Now, look, here's the previous degree wave 4. Now, I was just telling you the same thing in reverse over here. I was saying This wave 4 pullback that I believe we are now in should bottom. It's not unusual, just a guideline for wave 4 to bottom in the same vicinity as the previous degree wave 4. Well, that is also true whether you're up or down. So in this case, we were going up, and I was thinking maybe this is the top of wave 3, and that this is a wave 4. If it is the case, it should hold the box and hold the level of the previous degree wave 4. But it did not do that. So Elliott wave will help once you understand it. It'll help you recognize where you're wrong. If you don't know where you're wrong, or maybe you're a trader that never can be wrong, you can't allow yourself to be wrong, or especially if you're doing this in a public manner the way I am. Listen, I'm delighted that Elliott wave shows me where I'm wrong, because I'd rather know if I'm wrong. So this is no longer a wave 4 idea. So I'm taking that off. And this right here is no longer valid. This is now invalid. And you're about to watch me move my labels, which some people like to give me criticism for, and that's fine. You just don't understand Elliott wave. So this I'm tracking as that is wave 5 of 5 of 5 of 3. So now on the lower time frame chart, you cannot see all of those degrees, but what that is it's all okay. Starting from the top, it's the white wave 3, it's the purple 5, and then it's inside of that is another 5 wave move, and then inside of that is another 5 wave move, because that's the way the universe works, but that's the way price waves work. It's fractal. So this is a big 5 waves up for wave 3, and then 3 additional 5 wave structures inside of that. And this being the tiniest of them all, which is the third, 5th degree, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And all of this action right here, that in purple, this final 5 wave move up, is just inside of this little wave right here. That's why on this chart, you only see 2 numbers, wave 3 for this large degree 3 wave move, and the purple wave 5 for this large, the next smallest degree 5 wave move. But then inside of that is another 5 wave move, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then inside of this 5th wave is another 5 degree 5 wave move. And that is why on this chart, I have 4 labels. Okay. So look, this thing is clearly the top of wave 3, and it crapped out and is rolling over, and it's got 3 waves down. Okay. So now that I've given you a rather long explanation, but hopefully you're learning something, the levels, the parameter is if you are scalping to the long side because you think wave 3 is done, then your stop can be 26, 60, 70, 26, 60, 70. If you have a propensity to go long and you want a reasonable stop, it would be that low. It is possible. Let me see this for a second. 1, 2, 3. So inside of this would be, I'm just going to do some quick and dirty measurements. Okay, so what I'm getting at here is if wave 3 is not done, then you could get one more bounce as a microwave 4. Okay, it's already touched that zone. Can you see how that wick came up and already touched that zone, and then it got rejected? Now look, I'm doing too much here. I just want to give you parameters, but I can't help it but try to show you and explain. So really what I'm saying is I don't know if this thing has bottomed or not. But right now, your stop would need to be, actually, that's only, what is that? $8, a little more than $8. So if you can tolerate an $8 stop, you go long here and you put your stop. Because the idea would be, if this is done with wave 3, then the wave with the micro this micro degree inside of here, it could bounce and come down one more time, just a little bit, a nominal newer low. It's possible that that could happen based on this being a nano inside wave 4. But the larger degree wave 4 that I'm really looking for is going to track higher and could quite possibly come up much further as a bounce, especially after such a strong selling day. It's going to bounce. And the question is it already started this degree wave 4, which I think will come up higher? Or is it already giving you a micro degree wave 4 and then it's going to finish off this wave 3 with one more nominal newer low? That's the question. So if you can stay small enough, you could go long and just know that it could come down and just either tag the 200 fib or just go slightly lower. But I really like this area as the bottom for wave 3. And then really for a wave 4 bounce, again, the hard and fast rule is it cannot encroach upon the price territory of wave 1, which is 27.4180, which is all the way up here. So as long as you don't get a bounce that comes up above 27.4180, then you can expect another lower low to come down with a full 5-wave structure. So really what I'm getting at is gold is going much lower. I believe gold is going much lower. But because I'm mostly a scalper / day trader, we're trying to dial this in. And you can actually see this stuff a little better on this lower chart. This is the degree wave 4 that I'm really tracking. And inside, you can see it very clearly. So if that low that I just gave you holds, then I think a reasonable minimum target is 27.03. Minimum target 27.03 if the bounce has already started. I'm making this a little brighter so you can see it. And if it is truly a wave 4, price is not going to come above this 27.42 or 27.4180, this red line basically. So if the low is in, that's what I'm looking for. Now I'm trying not to make you crazy because this video is already too long. But hey man, Elliott wave, it's a powerful method, but it's complicated. So the more I look at this, see, this is the kind of stuff that I do. Drop down to the lower time frame because I want to see what does this structure look like. And you know what? This is not helping me very much to see this structure. That kind of looks like 3 up, actually. So, one way to think of this, it's because it only looks like 3 up, and this is far too much for a wave 4 on the nano structure. I think it is not unreasonable at all that this is a nano wave 4, that little spike, and I already showed you how that measures. So I'm not be surprised at all if this comes down, just makes a nominal low. But then we get a more meaningful bounce up into these levels on the blue wave 4 box. So just because this internal structure just to me looks like 3 up. And clearly it's coming back down after just 3 up, and it's already come too far for it to be wave 4. And I guess it's possible this could be an A, B. Yeah, that's true too. Actually, let me look at this. See, now I'm just getting into the different potentials of Elliott wave, and I know people just want me to tell them, hey, this is what's going to happen, and then then it happens. Okay, on this low of a time frame, the best you're ever going to do is get clues. That's all you're going to get is clues. So you just get used to measuring stuff. Once you have enough information in your head about Elliott wave and how things work, you can measure some things. So if this is going to do an ABC structure, these yellow fibs is typically where an ABC will get you. Is that enough in itself for wave 4? Technically, yes. But this is clearly a mini downtrend right now. So all I'm doing, I'm not predicting anything. I'm giving you stuff to think about. So, if this doesn't make a new low and this doesn't come down much further, well, let's see how far that has already come down. I mean, guys, if you wanted an easier method, this ain't it. If you want to learn about Elliott wave, you got the right channel, 2687. If you just want somebody to tell you what's going to happen, I'm not the guy. If you want somebody to give you parameters, yes. And, I'm kind of convoluting this video because I'm making parameters on a very micro basis, which, typically is unreliable. It's less reliable on the lower time frames, just like anything is. Same with candles. If you're using candle work on the lower time frame, it's just less reliable. All right. So, if this is going to be something like this is going to be something like an ABC for wave 4. It's not going to come down too terribly much, because it won't be a B wave anymore. I mean, if it makes a new low, then I'm just going to move this 3 down, because I'm going to view that as a wave 4 of a smaller degree. 1, 2, 3 is not done yet. And the way that works is this would be 1, 2, 3, 4, and it needs one more shove down as the 5th wave of 3. Because guess what? A wave 3, meaning from this white 2 to this white 3, inside of here is going to be 3 waves. So it's possible that 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's possible this already is wave 3, but it's also possible that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, with needing a 5th wave. So, now I'm already making this video way too long. It's just turning into an educational video, but you know what? It's Wednesday. So on Wednesday, I try to be more educational. The way I would think about this is just measuring stuff. Now, as I'm measuring stuff, I'm telling you, it gets less reliable when you get down here into the nano. But so that's the top of wave 2, and I'm looking for a 5-wave structure to complete wave 3. So if this is the bottom of wave 1, if this is the top of wave 2 at 2759.50, 2759.50. And then I'm going to go over here to my template, and I'm going to put on standard pinball, because all I want to do is see where this terminated. And it's already very much extended, even on these internal bases, because a typical wave 3 target is a 1618. So if this is a 1, 2, 3, 4 with one more low to come, this is really extended. I mean, but hey, guess what? This is a massive sell-off. And yes, it extended by any way that you measure it. It extended to the downside. So for the moment, I'm going to leave my chart as I've got it. I'm going to turn on one other fib, because I'm very curious, where did this level come to in terms of Fibonacci? So, could that be? Nah, I don't think. Nah, that ain't it. Because if this is wave 1, and this is wave 2, and this is wave 3, this came up and got into the price territory of wave 1. So at best case, this is a diagonal. But if it's come down too far and the whole thing looks impulsive, it doesn't look like a diagonal, because it's not a diagonal. Because this wave 4 that we're tracking at the moment that bounced, this would have to come all the way back up and get above here for this whole thing to be a larger diagonal. So it's not a diagonal. It's coming down as a true impulse, even though the way it's measuring is very extended to the downside. So, hey, guess what? It's an election. It's wild times, man. So back to my original parameters, which are best seen if you zoom out, and that is, maybe wave 3 is done. If this doesn't make a new low, if you want to be long, you don't want to overstay your welcome. So if you're scalping long and it comes up into these boxes, I'm going to brighten this up so you can see those targets. Starting at 2686 would be like the minimum target for long. If that low is in, then I think, more realistic target is for it to come up and get into here. And by the way, as I just finished saying, the wave 4 of the previous degree is right in this area near the top of this. So my guess is that it wouldn't just crap out at the 236, that it would come up to the 382. So just call it 2700, somewhere between 2700 and 2730, which is kind of the top of these candle bodies. So somewhere in this area would be ideal as a target. And if you ever see a question mark on my chart, it's just me reminding myself that, that's where I was wondering if price is going to come up into that zone. All right, so now that I've babbled on way too long, let's go over to silver. Silver, not too unlike gold, except I already moved the labels for that being the top of wave 3, and now it's a different count, different degree than gold. So that's fine. Gold does not always trade with silver. You can tell me that all you want, correlations, but go look at the charts on their own. There are times where they do not trade together. I really like the volume down here, these bubbles, volume showing outsized volume. I like the way buyers tend to buy tops and sellers tend to sell bottoms. So because of the size of these bubbles, and there's a whole bunch of them down right into this key area that is a key area. And Fibonacci wise, this is reasonable for an ABC, a 5-wave pattern for a C wave. Actually, let me turn off my bubbles. So it's not unusual, 5-wave C wave to be made up of 5 waves. That is the typical thing. So it is possible that this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and that these fibs in white are very realistic. I meant to say reasonable area for a 5-wave pattern to terminate based on Fibonacci. So you've got a couple of things going for you here for this to be the low. Now, of course, it may not be, but I see this whole area down here as support, the way I'm viewing this. So if that's going to be a wave 4, now guess what? Remember, I was just telling you the hard and fast rule. Here's the top of wave 1, the way I'm measuring this. So this really, you don't want to see it. It's going to complicate things if this gets below that level right there at 30.67. So with any luck, ideally, this is an area, if you want to trade this as an impulse, and this is a nice 3-wave structure down. So if you want to treat this as an impulse, meaning this whole thing just completed wave 3 and that wave 4 is already done, then your stop would be below 30.67, and you'd be going. That's a lot of heat, right? That's 32 plus. That's basically 67 ticks of 67 cents of heat is where the stop should be based on structure. So now another way to do this is to wait for 5 up. Now this is not a very pretty picture already because it's already overlapped. If this is the top of wave 1, meaning if this is the low, 1, 2. Now, again, at this scale, this is a 3-minute chart I'm showing you. So you have to take this with a grain of salt. But look, if you want to trade, define your risk, define the size of your position. So it's not unreasonable to try to long this in silver right here for a wave 5, which is going to go much higher, like a lot higher, like $8 higher, roughly from here. So am I saying that's going to happen? No. But what I'm saying is if it doesn't make a new low here, and from this point, let's just assume that this is an impulse for wave 1, and that this is already in that short order, come back to the 618, and then it bounced, and then this. See, but this structure is ugly. This does not look like the kind of reaction you'd want to see if this is the low. So gold is a little bit more clear, believe it or not. Never really thought I would say that, but this has already given you a nice move up and then a nice retrace. Silver is giving you like a very ugly, not decisive looking structure. And it is already overlapping itself, because if this is the initial move up off of the low, well, this is the initial move. Let me blow this up so you can understand what I'm saying. This is the initial move off of the low right here. And then it came back. That looks like about 76% or 80% of the move. And then it moved up again. Okay, great. But the problem is when it came back, first of all, it didn't give you a clear 5 up. So that's the first fail. It's not a convincing 5 up. Then when it came back, it dipped below the top of this high. So let me move this red line down and put it right at the top of this high. We've already dipped in it. So that by definition it invalidates it as a standard impulse. and it says it can only be a diagonal. That sucks because diagonals are way less reliable. Look, just for example's sake, this is a reliable pattern in gold. It's a 5-wave impulse and it's more reliable. And even the internal structure was reliable. It basically struck fibs you would expect it to strike. It held support in areas that you would expect it to hold. It hit ratio boxes that you would expect it to hold. So when you come down and get on this minute, minuscule time frame, first of all, it's just inherently less reliable. But even given that it's reliable, what I'm seeing is not inspiring for this to be impulsive. I mean, the gold bounce looks much better on that tinier scale. But hey, parameters, it's 30.94 to the downside in silver, 30.94. You know, if this this is a very ugly structure. So, you know, you can play this tight if you want to go long here and just put your stop down here, knowing that it could come back down and then go higher. But I don't like this structure. So, you know, it's not pretty. But there's your parameter, 30.94. And all I'm doing is looking for a convincing 5 up and 3 down. This is not it. This is not it. So there you go. Last thing, take a quick look at crude oil. Again, it's challenging. This could be, let me just get rid of these labels so you're not. This had an amazing move off of this zone down here, which at one point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. So, I mean, this is a perfect 5-wave move down right here. And look at this ripping move. So if this is an impulse higher off of that low, I mean, what a move. What a move. Look at that. There is a chance that this is a B wave because the measurements are kind of janky. But if this is 3 up, then the best I can tell you for some parameters, 72.63. Yeah, even as janky as this structure is, I think the parameters are even still more clear. Like if you want to be long oil, look at this. It had a chance. I know it may sound crazy to go long oil. It had a chance multiple times to come down here and get deeper into the support. It found support once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. Now, I know this is only a 5-minute chart. I get it. Let's just go up to a 13-minute chart. Okay. All right. Now let's go to a 21-minute chart. Okay. So again, Elliott wave, parameters, these concepts, the parameters is where the value is. If this is going to hold, if it's not going to come down and get back into here again, there's a very good chance that this is wave 3, this is wave 4, and you're going to get another shove up higher. If we do have a gap that remains open up here too. So, and going over here to this chart, what I'm really getting at is that this is just a new wave 1 of a new impulse. And these fibs, at the moment, these projections that you're seeing in oil over here are legit because this came down, even though as crazy as it came down right to a 50% fib and had a massive reaction. That could be 3 up. We're getting wave 4 now, and then you get a final shove up for another wave 1. So here's how you would think about this in Elliott wave terms. Now, look, I'm giving you, whether you realize it or not, I'm giving you massive context. I'm giving you massive value of Elliott wave, giving you context. So if this really bottomed here is a wave B, and so I'm looking for a C wave that's going to go much higher. And if this is already wave 1, this is wave 2, this will be wave 3. Wave 4 will come back, hold this pivot. I'm just making the, oh, look at that. That's right where the C is. So somewhere up here for a wave 5 of C. So wave C should be a 5-wave move. So what we're trying to discern in oil is, where are we and what's more likely? So as I was just showing you on this lower time frame right here, if this is wave 3 And we are now getting a wave 4. So if this gives a 5th wave up, one more shove up here, that is going to be a new wave 1 of 3. Now my degrees are wrong. What do I mean by that? Let me just fix the degrees up real quick. So if this is really a 1, 2 already, and that we are already starting this wave 3, it is also going to be composed of 5 waves. So if we are in a wave 4, which you can't really see on this scale, right? Because this is an 8-hour chart. But if this gives another wave up and gets up into here, that's going to be another wave 1 and of this wave 3. And then what we're going to see, now look, this is just me teaching you here. If that comes up again, it's going to be something like this: wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of a smaller degree right there. And I usually change the color so you don't lose your mind. And I'll take measurements, but I have nothing to measure right now, so I'm not going to take measurements. But then just make it a different color so you can understand that, that's the way this would go. If this is going to play out as I've drawn it, this is basically how the wave structure is going to go. It's going to be composed. It's going to be another 5 waves up. But at this moment, we don't have 5 up. We have 3 up. And maybe this is wave 4, and we're going to get one more shove. Okay, so that's the deal. I know it's hard, man. I'm giving you parameters, but I'm doing it through education, and it's tough. Usually what I try to do on the Sunday video is just give you 10 minutes of nothing but parameters on whatever instrument that I'm talking about, and then get into sort of more long-winded explanations of things. But today I didn't do that. I kind of gave you a little bit of parameters, and then I went into the educational aspect. But my goal is to educate you so you can have better parameters in your own trading. All right, cool. That's all I got. Good luck. It's an election week, man. Structure is going to be weird. Already crazy things have happened. So let's see where we end up based on these parameters. I'll see you over the weekend. If you're in the club, I'll see you in the club. Cool. Take care. Bye-bye.